What's up, guys? My name is Anthony, and today we're going to be talking about a couple different things. The first one will be a list. It's 21 behavioral changes that will slow the global economy over the coming quarters. This was a list that was put out by the German Deutsche Bank. And one of the things that we'll talk about today is the potential inevitability of central bank digital currencies. After that, we'll talk about which cryptocurrencies might prosper most. But before we begin, I want to thank all our new and returning subscribers for your support and explain what we do here for you first-time viewers. Crypto Ride exists to help you responsibly navigate the unpredictable world of cryptocurrency through news videos, technical analysis videos, and project review videos. So if you're passionate about incorporating cryptocurrency into your overall wealth building strategy, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel in the bottom right corner of your screen. And I just want to mention how we just hit the 4,000 subscriber milestone. It means a lot to me that so many of you guys like what we're doing here, and it motivates me to continue to bring you high quality content. And just for the record, if you're new here, some of our recent videos, we did an engine coin project review video. We also do a lot of Chainlink technical analysis as well as Bitcoin technical analysis videos. And then we get into some more news related videos like this one, and ones that are designed to make you think, to make you question, and to try and anticipate how to grow your wealth through cryptocurrencies, but also how to diversify and prosper in any current situation. So let's get into it. First, I want to talk about this article right here, 21 reasons that shatter hopes for a quick stock market recovery. This is the condensed list that I showed you earlier. So the first 8 of Deutsche Bank's points are all related to household behaviors. So here are a few of my favorites that I want you to think about. Families will start saving more. Just like the Great Depression, families will go into survival mode, saving any spare penny and avoiding unnecessary expenses. The virus will change our public spaces. Restaurants, cinemas, planes, and sports events will increase space between seats, which will lead to lower revenue. Something we haven't thought about, but when we reopen a lot of these public places, there will be changes that happen in the local businesses. Fewer people will travel until there's a vaccine or therapeutic available. Supermarkets limit numbers. In the short term, shops and supermarkets will continue to expose restrictions, which will push down the revenues, right? When people are standing at the door, only letting X amount of people into a store, they have less customers, they're going to bring in less money and have less profits. People might stop going to the gym. I know I have. Right now in New York, I'm required not to go, but even when it opens up, I'm a little weary to go back. Think about all the germs that live in a gym. So some interesting stuff that'll happen on a household, kind of individual consumer level. But it's not just about the households. Corporate America will struggle to get going again in the coming months. There'll be less corporate travel, resulting in loss of revenue for airlines, hotels, and the whole travel industry. Of course, to me, that's like the given. That's the one that almost goes without saying. But what about this? Staggered work schedules, possible decline in productivity and communication. I know for me, I'm a teacher, I'm at home. I know my wife's been working at home as well, and we're doing our job and we're doing it to the best of our ability, but it is a little bit less productive than it would be if we were in person, right? More permanent work from home setups. This is going to be a disruption to productivity as well. So even the companies that are working and are functioning, there's going to be a decline in their productivity. Also, as far as company goes, there'll be fewer share buybacks. So if you didn't know this, companies purchasing their own stocks were the biggest buyers on the market, and that purchasing pressure will disappear. So we're going to have less buying pressure on the entire global economy, which would, of course, push stocks higher. But now companies have less money. They're having to go into their reserves. They have less employees. They're scaling back. Some of them, many of them, of course, as you probably know, are shut down. And the last points I have here center around government regulation, higher supply of government bonds. A debt crisis was a concern even before the coronavirus pandemic. So with unprecedented levels of stimulus, and we've talked about on this channel too, how the US government and really governments all around the world are cranking up their printing press, and that makes this debt crisis a bigger reality. So some food for thought there. I'll share a link to that one in the description, but let's talk about how this might affect cryptocurrency. Researchers at Deutsche Bank are predicting that in addition to the far-reaching consequences that the coronavirus pandemic will have on the global economy, it may transform how central banks interact with money, forcing a pivot to digital cash. And this force might be the strong push that some of these governments need to start taking Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies more seriously. I should say before I go any further, these governments could, of course, use a sovereign currency, but it remains to be seen how many of these governments will react, and we'll have to wait and see. But on April 3rd, Germany's largest bank tweeted, and here's the tweet that they made, and this is the image that you saw was disguised kind of cleverly in my thumbnail, but you kind of see all these different global currencies all leading and feeding into Bitcoin. So this is a really wild thing for the largest bank in Germany to put out. And as you can read, it said the COVID-19 pandemic is accelerating the rise of central bank digital currencies as many governments see the handling of cash as a potential risk factor. This guy, Marian Labor, we went on to write a whole article, and I want to talk about this. He called it the COVID-19 cash out, and he wrote it with a few other people, but there were a couple main points that I wanted to highlight for you. So because hand-to-hand exchange of physical currency could transmit the coronavirus, countries around the world are being forced to reconsider the use of cash. So this is something we didn't necessarily think about, but I believe that it makes total sense that the use of cash could be something that carries COVID-19 on it. China's government, for its part, has begun to disinfect and even destroy banknotes to mitigate the spread of the virus, at least in the short term. And China was, of course, the country that was hit hardest by the pandemic when it first started. But if they're doing this now there, it begs a question of what other countries around the world will do in the coming months. Studies have found that the human influenza virus, for example, can remain alive and infectious on banknotes for 17 days. So if the flu has a 17-day shelf life, and we already know that COVID is similar in some ways to the flu, it would not be unreasonable to assume that physical currency has played a role in spreading COVID-19. It makes so much sense, and was something that I hadn't even really thought about. The coronavirus will accelerate an ongoing shift among younger populations toward digital payments, particularly in Asia, and specifically in China. And that's a big deal. Now I want to point your attention to a tweet that I made. And if you're not following me on Twitter, let's connect on there. My handle is right there on the screen at CRAnthony3. But take a quick look at this article I found. And this was a few days ago, before I started making this video, or even knew that I wanted to, or that I would be making this video. But this talks about how the Bank of France says Ethereum and XRP could power their central bank digital currencies. And I'm not going to go on to read this because I think I've done a lot of reading in this video, but I think the question you have to ask yourself is what cryptocurrencies are going to benefit if central banks begin using digital currencies and just do away with cash entirely? Because this pandemic rises the probability, the percentage that will actually happen, and we might not see cash. I've got a 3-year-old, and whenever we talk about money and I hold a quarter or $1 or $5 bill or whatever it is, I always think to myself, by the time this kid's 15 or 18, will this even exist? And some of the things we've talked about today, it might make it so cash doesn't exist within 3 or 5 years or 1 year. I don't know if that would ever be possible, if things could move that fast, but this is definitely food for thought. The other thing I want to say today, as I talked about the global economy a little bit, is keep your eye on that. I know a lot of people in cryptocurrency, or some people anyway in cryptocurrency that I've seen, they tend to focus specifically on the cryptocurrency markets, but there's a lot more happening in the world, and it really is all connected, and all of these different markets influence each other. So especially in times like these, I'll keep you up to date to macro issues in the global economy as much as I can, but keep your eyes open, watch the stock market, watch gold, watch how everything's reacting in these coming weeks and months. And I'm probably going to make a video on diversification. Let me know in the comment section if you'd like to see something like that from me. But aside from that, as always, I want to remind you to never invest more than you can afford to lose in cryptocurrency, because it is a speculative investment. And I want to wish you well and tell you to stay healthy, stay home if you're in the United States. Certainly if you're in New York, do the quarantine, take it seriously. I know I am, and my family is. And it's a pleasure to stay connected with everybody. Thanks for watching.